Some might say 2 are better than 1. But I'm going to ask you, is 3 just way too many? Let's get to it. Welcome to the Wrestling Realm Presents Season 2 of Championship Culture. I'm Brandon the Guy, and remember, every belt has a story. Now, before we get into today's content, I got to remind you of a couple quick things. Did you know that you can watch any of the Wrestling Realm content anytime just by going over to youtube.com/the Wrestling Realm? This will include all 25 episodes of Season 1, and we even throw a bonus episode in. So when you get a chance, go over to youtube.com/the Wrestling Realm and check out all of the flagship show of the Wrestling Realm and Season 1. And catch up on some Season 2 of Championship Culture too. Now, don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms, which include Instagram, Threads, X, and on Facebook, just by going to @Wrestling Realm. And guess what? You can follow Championship Culture on Instagram just by going to Championship Culture _. Trust me, if you like and subscribe and follow us, we will follow back. Now, if that's too much for you, don't forget, you can download all of our audio content at any time just by going to Anchor, Stitcher, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. And you can watch us on our Twitch channel, which is @The Wrestling Realm. And last but not least, there's a lot of baseball games happening. There's a lot of other sporting events, live concerts, SummerSlam coming up. You got different stuff happening, right? So why don't you let the guys over at the Wrestling save you a couple dollars? If you head over to SeatGeek.com and purchase your tickets there, whenever you purchase anything of $50 or more, use the promo code The Wrestling Room, and they're going to save you $20 or more. Once again, if you need to purchase anything for any kind of concert, live events, sporting events, and more, just go over to SeatGeek.com and use the promo code Wrestling Realm. For any one-time purchase of $50 or more, we're going to save you $20. Now, with all that being said, on a not-so-recent episode, because, we come to you every Tuesday at 8 p.m. here, and we talk about some championships, right? Because that's what championship culture is. But back, post-WrestleMania, we had a show called New Era, New Champs, right? And we had a special guest on there, one of our special guests. This man made a reference to his feeling about trios belts, which sometimes your guest will give you some ways to alter your shows, alter your path. And this guy definitely shifted our way of thinking. Who am I talking about? He is not only the host and the creator of 3 Count Trivia, which them Championship Culture boys won their inaugural first season, and we're reigning, defending champions of 3 Count Trivia. And not to mention that the guy was the inaugural winner of Opinionated. Imagine that, right? But I'm talking about none other than, one of the good brothers from 4 Sides of the Ring, Mr. Knit Ram himself. He's going to join us today, and I'm going to give him a chance to talk to the people. Come on in, brother. Let's see what you got to say and see if you got any more jelly beans left.
What is going on?
Hello, brother. How are you, sir?
Doing good. I'm down to my last 3. It was supposed to be for the whole show, for the running gag.
And
they were really good, man.
Out of contest, right? Well, look who's there. Prototype. We know who you are. You're here tonight. And trust me, you want to stick around because we got some interesting stuff to talk about today. But for those that don't know this, man, during WrestleMania, Championship Culture and 4 Sides of the Ring met up, right? And this is after we had already won the 3 Count Trivia, which was the brainchild of you. But one of the highlights was these jelly beans. This man kept pulling jelly beans out of everywhere. And he got, the super producer, H to the A to the S to the T to the H to the E to the 3 to the R to the D. He got him hooked on these said jelly beans. Can you show these people these jelly beans? Because
got me hooked, bro.
Look, you don't think you like jelly beans until you start eating them.
Come on, bro. I'm addicted, bro.
WrestleMania weekend, he says to Hugh, "You want some jelly beans?" And it just was out of nowhere. He started pulling out these little bottles of jelly beans, just started passing them over. And all I had to do, because me and Hugh were in the same car, this is what I heard. Dang, these things are good. Oh, these things are amazing. And then we met up again. He's like, "Y'all bought them jelly beans?"
No, but what was great about it was like I only brought like 3 flavors the first time, and I was like, yeah, it came with like 6 flavors. And then I thought about it. I came the next day, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna see him again. I was like, I'm just gonna bring on one of each flavor. So I was like, what did he have? I'm like, he ain't have no 7-Up. He ain't have the root beer.
And I'm gonna just say this: I tried a couple of them, and I was like, "Yep, I'm okay." But Nitrab had actually an addiction to that. What's the rocks that you drink?
Oh, the Zoa. Yeah.
So they were giving out whole cases at Wale Mania, and I told them I had a whole case. But by the time it got to you, I think you only had like 4 left, right?
Hey, they didn't even make it home. I was drinking them on the way home and everything.
But look what the prototype said. He's trying to tell you, he's trying to put you down on some Welch's fruit snacks are better than jelly. He said they're better than jelly.
Healthier, maybe.
That's
they don't get stuck in teeth as much. But that's an interesting topic, which I didn't know we would talk about. But that's why we're on the subject of topics, right? Brother Nitram. Yes. Tell the people who you are, because we know that you're a member of 4 Sides of the Ring. We know you're the brains behind. Well, you guys were the inaugural champions of 3 Count Trivia. That's all I'm gonna keep saying. See that belt?
It's back here.
Yeah,
it's hanging. So
tell the people who you are, in case they might not know, because on the poster, that's your alter ego. This is actually Nitram, full on in character.
So first thing people might wonder is, look at that guy's hair. I'm getting it braided. I've been growing it out for a long time now. Finally getting it braided right before 4th of July. Super excited about that. But who am I? I am essentially the 5th side of 4 Sides of the Ring. When you really think about it, that's who I am. I am the game host guy. That is my role of the thing. I bring 3 Count Trivia to make people stress. I bring Opinionated to make people stress over themselves. I bring, as the guys would say, the hate, because apparently I'm just a big hater. I think I get the most hater alerts whenever I'm on a show than anyone else.
That is true.
I'm not saying anything, but I never got that here. Never got that on this show. It's always love here. But yeah,
was that a shot at Chano, Marcus, Brandon Savage, Zombie King? That wasn't a shot at him, right? Okay. I just want to make sure that it wasn't a shot at Zombie King.
Marcus is the one who pushes the buttons, so it'd be your own people. Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Marcus is his brother. That's what
he is my brother.
And Brandon Savage and Zombie King, who's actually a professional wrestler, he's they're cousins. And I bet you this is your brother right here.
Oh boy.
And I'm saying, I would be remiss if I didn't say, before we got into the show, congratulations on y'all 1-year anniversary.
Right.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Listen when I tell you, me and Hugh had a ball disrupting your comments. And I feel like we was just egging it on. But if you get a chance, go over to 4 Sides of the Ring. Y'all they're really simple. Follow them on Instagram, X, YouTube. It does not disappoint. Go subscribe to 4 Sides of the Ring. Listen to these brothers go at it. It is, I'm telling you, when you talk about insightful, they be dropping some stuff. You be like, dang, I didn't even think about that. Oh man, that's actually kind of cool. So sorry, I'm gonna get it back to you. Anything else you want to talk about? Because we got a healthy topic to get into today.
Oh, and I'm ready for this topic because I expressed to you guys before about how I feel about trios as far as the wrestling and as far as the designs of the belts and how I feel about it. So I'm ready to get into it because I haven't told you specifically there was certain titles I want on there.
Channel.
It's your favorite.
He doesn't push the hater buttons in the podcast, but in text messages he'd be calling me out.
I can see that.
Well, you know what's crazy? Because when you look at four sides with the alternate man in, it's kind of like a whole bunch of tag teams, and that's what trios are usually made up of. And let's be honest, trios are always like a tag team and then another person. It might be the tag team and the world champion, the tag team and a contender for another title, or oftentimes we see the tag team and we ain't got nothing to do with this guy, put them together. And you can talk about tag teams, factions, which ones like for a while WWE had the New Day as a faction, but they used the Freebird rules so they could beat all the tag team champions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when we get to trios, it's like, okay, what's really in the name? Is it about that group of guys that make up this team, or is it about let's put three guys together to contend for these titles, right? Because does the name really matter? Is it a 6-man? Is it a trios belt? Is it something else? What do we call it? Because remember, New Japan calls it the never open weight 6-man championship, right? ROH has the 6-man championship, and AEW has the trios. Nitram, answer this question for me. Does the name matter when it comes to this classification of these belts?
100%. And I'm gonna tell you why. Simple as it can get. If I went to someone who didn't watch wrestling and told them this guy's a 6-man champion, that person is gonna think he's either a 6-time champion and has 6 belts, or there's 6 men in his group that are a tag team. But you go to them and you say, yeah, he's a trio. He's a trio champ. They're gonna say, oh, that's 3. This guy's in a trio group. I think the 6-man name is so awkward because then that would be like calling it a 12-man match. Like, it just breaks it down to where it doesn't need to. I get there's 6 people in the ring at one time, but only 3 of them are champions. So if you ask me personally, I think when you put the name 6-man, it kind of not only makes it sound redundant, but it's just like also kind of confusing.
So let me ask you this. When we talk about 6 men, right? It's a 6-man match. Is that where it becomes convoluted, or you think just saying trios would eliminate all that?
I think saying trios just eliminates it. If I said this guy's in a trios match, you're going to think, okay, trios, that's 3. I'm thinking 3-on-3 tag. Because if I want to say a 1v1v1, that's a triple threat. Everyone knows that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think trios is the way to go in that aspect.
Well, I want you to park that because in 2015, New Japan introduced the never open weight 6-man tag belts, right? Now, we can sit here and talk about these belts till we blue in the face, right? Of course, tournaments happen. Uh-oh, was that me?
My bad.
Tournaments happen, right? And one of the Wrestling Room's favorite tag teams were the inaugural champions with somebody else. Did this help solidify the never open weight title, or did this help solidify the 6-man? I'm talking about the Briscoes with Toro Yam. I'm gonna butcher his name, and I know I am, and they're gonna tell me I butchered it, but you know exactly what I'm trying to say, right? Toro Yam.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Look, where's Dwayne when we need him? Because he will pronounce the names like nobody's business. But they were the inaugural champions, right? And while we're talking about this, I'm gonna just do something to prove my point later on. All right. So here we have the belt. Was the Briscoes arguably the greatest tag team in ROH? Arguably one of the greatest tag teams ever. Are they the right people to introduce a 6-man belt?
So
this ain't gonna be easy. This not gonna be easy.
I'm gonna keep this as nicely as I can put it, and the answer is no for this reason. I feel like when the Neverweight 6-man was open and they were intertwining it with Ring of Honor at first, yes, the Briscoes were the top dogs. And there's no doubt about that. You think Ring of Honor tag teams, they're number 1. But to throw them in, and then you throw in, I don't want to butcher his name either, but you throw in the guy that Brandon butchered earlier. And
that was great. That was great.
You throw in him, and you sit there and you say, okay, that's cool. But even watching some of those matches from the earlier Netherweights, the issue is that you had the Briscoes doing their thing, right? And then they would hit a tag, and you had this, ideally, a solo wrestler doing his thing. And it just, to me, that didn't click.
And I'm going to tell you this. What didn't click for me? What's the difference? when I see both of these belts, I'm like, what's the difference? What's the difference in the never open 6-man belt because there's a blue circle versus the red circle? They look exactly the same. You got it. Like I'm holding it at an angle on the distance because the difference was, see how that says champion, and it's just at the bottom. This at the bottom just says 6-man. So to your point with the names makes sense, but let me get to my notes because I'm about to stir you up and get you going because these people don't know the type of person you are, right? You said something about a set of tag teams doing their thing and singles doing it, but what about when you have 3 established single stars with it? What happens then?
So if you have 3 established single stars that are a faction and been a faction, so and we'll get to this later of when I think this works and why I think it doesn't work in certain places. When you have 3 solo stars that are a faction, it makes sense because these are 3 guys. For example, we're just gonna throw them out. The New Day, Kofi.
No. You don't get to use them. We talk about New Japan. Nope. Not fair. Come on, talk about the Bullet Club because remember these were all single stars.
Let's talk about the Bullet Club.
Okay.
But the thing about the Bullet Club is that even though they were single stars, when they started tagging up, they constantly switched out, right? So it was never one person with one person. They constantly were able to work with each other at different levels. So when you put all 3 of them in, they were intertwined in movesets. Okay, all we got to do is add a third person to this move. All we got to do is add a third person to that move. And it worked. But when you get 3 single people that aren't a faction and they're just doing their 3 single things into hot tags, it doesn't work. It falls flat. And you start to think, like, what's the point of them even having this at this point?
Makes sense.
So think about when Ricochet had many partners and was holding, right? It was almost like a spot fest. But then you had the Elite, who were an established tag team in the Young Bucks, insert somebody else, whether it be Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, because remember, they had different combinations for ROH and New Japan. Did this bring eyes to it, or did it feel like it was just filling the card?
I think the Elite having it brought eyes to it. And I'm going to be very specific here. Kenny Omega being involved with it brought eyes to it. People could say that everyone knows about the Bucks and all that, and that's fine. I guarantee people still knew about Kenny Omega before they knew about the Bucks. And I think Kenny Omega was really the one person, doesn't matter what belt he holds at this point, but when he held that, we were like, well, what's Kenny Omega doing? He's a 6-man champ. What does that mean? And then we looked into it. Because that's how it was for me. You know, I looked into Kenny Omega and I was just like, oh, well, who's he tagging with? Who are these guys?
Right.
I think, and this is one of the issues real quick that I have with the trios titles is that I feel like when you don't have an established leader in trios, it also doesn't work. Kenny is clearly the established star in that situation. So therefore, he was always the centerfold. But when you have 3 guys and they're holding these belts and you can't tell who actually calls the shots here, it kind of, like I said, it's kind of just a confusing waste of time.
But then you got, so I'm going to throw another monkey wrench. You said Kenny Omega with the Elite. But what about the supervillains? Remember, that was Matt and Nick with Marty Scurll. Was Marty Scurll clearly the leader, or was it no leader?
I wasn't sure we were allowed to talk about Marty Scurll.
Just for this purposes of validate
for reasons. I was a Marty fan. I didn't know who Marty Scurll was until he aligned himself with at this point the Bucks.
Enough said. So that's all I wanted to get out.
Facts. That's it. That's it.
In this sense, do I think he was the leader? He was supposed to be, but he was a leader that was outshined by who he was with.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yes. So moving away from New Japan, right? Because we saw that New Japan was using kind of like a ROH format, right? And when I say ROH format, a lot of like we saw what was happening in ROH was kind of happening over there. You had people who had both sets of belts. You had people in other promotions having, I'm a tag team in this promotion, but I'm the 6-man tag in this other promotion, right? And before we move on, I just want everybody to appreciate how beautiful this belt is, even though it's a copy of, the other one. And
show the red dot. It looks better.
Oh, you think? Oh, okay. So this is the 6-man. Let me sit this down without making a bunch of noise to mess up everybody's airwaves. And then,
Come on, Brandon, do the thing, man. You're supposed to say it's a cookie cutter. It's a cookie cutter with the title. It's a cookie cutter.
It is. It's kind of, rinse and repeat.
Say there it is.
Rinse and repeat.
He's doing the thing. There it is.
This one just got. They both got red stones. This just has a red dot. That one got a blue dot. red dot, blue dot.
But the red dot looks better.
Yeah.
I like red. I don't like one more than the other. That's the crazy part. Like I think they're equally. Like if I saw that belt without seeing the thing, I would say, okay, that's a mid-card champion. Who is that? That's what I see when I see that silhouette. Like, okay, that's got to be something because their heavyweight title stacked, jewels stacked, engraved. This was engraved single layer minus never. It's just the only part that's stacked. It's made me say, okay, that's got to be a mid-card title. But what I want to fight with you on, you said 6-man sounds better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this one is a little, it got a scratch on it, right? Yeah, he said 6. No, I'm sorry.
No, he said trio sound better. Yeah.
Yeah, trio sound
makes more
6
sense.
Man.
Yeah.
But the design of this doesn't scream a trios champion for you? Be honest, it doesn't.
I'm not a fan of that belt. I'm not.
Now, why is that? Why is that?
It's all right, but hear me out. Hugh, look at this belt. Okay, let's say you knew nothing about wrestling. No, leave the belt up, Brandon. Leave the belt up. Okay.
All right,
you don't know nothing about wrestling. You see one person walking down the street with that on it. Now, title that says 6-man tag team champion. Do you think this person is in a group of 3 or 6?
I mean, just going off of the main plate, I would say 6.
Right.
To be honest.
Which is why it doesn't work for me. The belt's not a bad design. I think it's just a name that throws me off. Once I don't like the name, I can't like the title.
I mean, and that's fair because he said it. He said it with his chest.
Right, the whole chest.
Right.
And nothing but the chest. God dang.
But it's crazy because this belt, right? When you really think about this, we had the Kingdom, Matt Taven. We're going to say Matt Taven and some people held this title, right? The first iteration of the Kingdom. But I want to shift to who beat them for it. The Briscoes and Bully Ray. An established tag team with an established tag team wrestler who was trying to make a singles career, and then they're the 6-man champions, right?
Yep.
Did you care about that, or would you rather just see the Briscoes just keep doing things in the tag team division?
The Briscoes shouldn't have been in trios.
Thank you. They
shouldn't. The Briscoes, like I said earlier, one of the greatest tag teams there is. But they've always had that issue with when they were in trio matches, especially when it comes to like being in title matches. They were a tag team that was doing their tag team stuff and leaving out one person, and that person had to go fill in with their single stuff. And to me, that doesn't work. That's just an issue. Is 3 too many people? It possibly is.
So when you say that, you had people like Dalton Castle with his boys. Clearly a faction holding the belt. Truly entertaining, right? But then you get Adam Page and the Young Bucks getting the belts back. You had to get another situation where you said established team the leader. Is Hangman the leader, or is he just somebody that's being identified because he's with the Young Bucks? And this is shorts wearing, not pants wearing Adam Page. This is the shorts and the cowboy boots. Remember them back in them days? Because that's not even this design of this belt yet. This was the original design that was fugly. We're just gonna call it that.
Yep.
Was Hangman the leader, or was he just the person to ride the coattails of the Young Bucks? Did he freeze? Oh,
I think they wanted to show him off as if he could be a leader. You know what I mean? They wanted him to show like this guy could be a leader, but in case he's not, he's rolling with the Bucks. And they kind of like I said, besides Kenny, there's not a lot of people that overshadow the Bucks at this point.
Okay, that is true.
So it's just like you put him in there. It was the same thing with Marty Scurll. This guy could have been a leader. He probably is the leader, but just in case.
Let's do something different, because one of my favorite factions and the signatures I had on this, of course, was Shane Taylor Productions. And it was because Shane Taylor was doing things in the indie scene that not a lot of people was used to seeing. And then we had Khan, who we see him now, still running with the 6-man belt, right?
Yep.
And the other guy, oh my God, why am I drawing a blank? I was going to say Moses. That's not his name. What is his name here?
You talking about, what's his name?
Yeah, from Shane Taylor.
Big Bad Cujo.
Yes.
Is it not Coogee? What is it? I'll think of it. Let me find out.
But the point I'm trying to make, you had an established faction get this belt. Shane Taylor, clearly the leader. They're doing the things they need to do, which isn't the tag team combined, this and that. It's literally 3 guys came together, dominated the division. I don't want to say dominated because they lost it in a short time, but it was a thing where they brought eyes. It made me pay attention and say, okay, when's their next match going to be? And
O'Shea Edwards.
Thank you. And we had the Righteous dethrone them, which another thing, like 3 guys, great gimmick. People might have called them, I'm not going to say some of the names they called them, but it was a great gimmick. Would that change your mind about these belts, or are you still not sold on these belts?
He doesn't care.
I'm still not sold on them. So there's something about, and I'm only saying this clearly about the Ring of Honor ones right at this point right now. Okay, there's something about those belts that are underneath mid-card belts for me. Like having them is just to kind of tell somebody, yeah, well, it's one of those things where they're like, yeah, if you stay with us, we'll make you a champion, and then they put them with that. It's that championship. Well, yeah, we made him a champion. It's underneath mid-card titles for me. And it's the way they presented it. It's the storylines it was given. And in a sense, it was the TV time that it was given. Because it wasn't being presented as strong as the other titles that they've had.
Oh, we're going to get to that in a minute.
That's literally.
But so now here's the crazy part. Go back to 2016 ROH. When these belts were created, they didn't look like this iteration here. They were created, and this was a big deal for ROH because this was the first time they had introduced new belts since their inception of 2010, right? Because they always had the tag, the pure, the world champion. The women's champion came later, but remember, that's what they had, the tag, the pure, the world champion, right? And those were the Ring of Honor belts. And then now we fast forward the growth a little bit, the expansion, they tried something different. They got all these wrestlers, and WCW did have some 6-man, but it wasn't like a major thing, right? These belts, they had to put them on important people that were flagship wearers. If not, they wouldn't have felt like, let me go watch them. Let me see what this division is doing. Did this help or hurt the tag team division because you had these belts?
I think at first it hurts them because you try to put so much focus into getting teams of 3. And, it's like we said earlier, like, look at the Briscoes. They were just getting thrown these guys. You know what I mean? So I think it does hurt. It hurts the tag division in a short-term focus. But then they realize these aren't working. Let's go ahead and put this tag teams that we love back in the mix. And then what the problem is that you start running out of these trios. And that's when you start getting these situations where they throw random guys together.
Uh-oh. Somebody at the door?
Somebody is at my door.
It's random.
It was like, uh-oh.
This man had ordered a pizza.
You're going to go get his pizza. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have is on air greatness. But let's take a look at this. Mike, he definitely said what I need to hear. Everybody has a story. Welcome, Mike. Kirby, you need to beat. Huh?
You need to bet on yourself.
Good point. And Brother, time for a haircut to get them braids. He said he's getting braided, and as he gets braided, he sports a new haircut, which
I
is
know, right?
crazy because check that out. So look, here he comes. He's coming back. Look how fast he goes. So
Who was it?
now you got to tell us who was it.
Right.
Oh, it was my
Good?
neighbor, y'all. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm not gonna lie, I got good neighbors. She picks up my packages, my Amazon packages, and waits for me to come home.
Oh, that's good.
So my car's been in the shop for a couple days, so she hasn't been sure if I was home, but I left my kitchen light on, so then she just assumed that I was home. So
Is it a belt?
it is not. I'm not gonna lie, it's a special shampoo that helps my hair grow.
Hey.
All right. With that being said, because I don't know anything about
I'm with
shampoo,
it.
make anything, bro.
I bet.
And look, now you've inspired people because now I want some pizza. Somebody should have some special on a Tuesday. I'm throwing this out there. Don Mister is the strongest man alive. We're gonna get to that probably on the flagship show on the wrestling
Yes,
round.
sir.
So prototype, tune in tomorrow night on Wednesday night for the wrestling round. And I just wanted you to see what Kerwin said. He said, "Brother, time to get your hair cut or get braids." And I told him, I said, he's getting braids. It's coming.
It's coming.
Bear with him. But let's get back on track because we was having a healthy dialogue about these 6-man belts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because you can't talk about the ROH ones with I'm sorry, the point I was trying to make, they introduced them 6 years later, put eyes on the product. Did they really need to introduce this when their tag team division was so great as I have the tag belts over my shoulders? Did they need these belts when they introduced them?
Nah. Like I said, man, these were just belts that they were telling people, we'll make you a champion. Just stay. We'll make you a champion. And then people are thinking, oh, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. And then, nope, they were trio champs. And they kept their promise. There's a lot of belts like that I feel, in different companies. Every company has that belt. I think this was theirs.
Okay.
It's hey, don't leave me. Here's a title for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with that, so you can't talk about the ROH belts without talking about my favorite wrestling promotion, which I said I wouldn't talk about on the flagship show. I said I was done with my
AEW?
I said I was done. But
we got words for AEW. I'll tell you exactly where they're going wrong. I'm just saying, when we get there.
So let me give this people a tidbit because in their 5 years, right, 2022, they established, their trios champion. Called it trios champion. It looks like a world title for 3 guys, right? Called it trios. And interesting tournament, great thing. I don't know if the Elite was the right people to do it because it seemed like they just brought them back together just for that belt, right? And Tony Khan, here's my rant about this, and I promise you, I'm not going to go off, but we had these belts introduced, right? And we're going to get to why I think they were right time, wrong people, because Tony Khan had something special going with his belts. The TNT belt was introduced, of course, by Cody Raheem Rhodes, right?
Raheem, yes, sir.
Red strap, unfinished. Okay, cool. A new belt, got gold on it, quote unquote, is finished, right? Retire it because of Brody Lee. 100% agree with it. Black strap comes, Darby, let's call it the Darby belt. Belt got passed around. Then we got the Sammy Guevara with the bling on it. Then we got the Miro white strap.
The Scorpio Sky with the Laker colors was nice.
Yeah. So it was neat that was, okay, when the person won it, what are they going to do? Because every person was having a touch of it. So when the Trios belts was introduced, it was like, these are cool-looking world titles. And when I say cool-looking world titles, when you look at the main plate, it does just look like a world champion. Classic look, oval, got the globe like I like.
Simple.
Trios, simple to the point. Got the gold texture around it. It's got the Young Bucks. I can always say they super kicking, one-winged angel, super kick party, same thing, right? Mm-hmm. So it was kind of evident that they were going to be either the first champions or somebody established in this, right? My rant continues because, and I promise you, we're going to get to you, and I'm going to let you take it away because the factions were actual factions in AEW because nobody can be by themselves. The House of Black got it. They changed the look of it, right? Perfect. Gorgeous belt. Silver and black, right? The Acclaim got it. Look, that thing is perfect. It has HOB on it. It's black. It's dark. It looks like it fits them. It was when I said, wait a minute, they got custom belts. Tony, you're doing the right thing. This is great. As a belt guy, loving it, right? Then just look how it looks with them. It looks like it's made for them, right? Mm-hmm. They took the Young Bucks off super kicking, and apparently an insider told us that each of them had their own side plates, so it was 3 totally different belts.
Yep.
Then we fast forward to when the Acclaim had it, and they did another hat trick. They said, oh, look what we can do. Our whole gimmick, now you got this. And it says World Trios Champion on there. I think they put the super kick back on it, but the strap was scissors, right? This thing was, well, not that picture. This thing. And okay, I'm going to try to keep it. The fact that he put, it says scissor me daddy ass. And the fact is, on this strap, right?
There's no tip.
We call it, there's no tip. It's the scissor, right? Because it's scissored. You don't
There's
need
2
a tip.
tips.
You don't need a scissor if you're tip.
Actually,
you don't need
yeah. I guess so.
Scissoring, right?
That is so true. All right, I'm going to go on. Bye. See y'all.
No, you say that now. So I know that's a long rant for me to get to this point, right? They had something special. Then they said, oh, I'm going to give you new ROH Trios Championships, right? Because if you look at this one, now you can put it up there, Hugh. You gave us this beautiful ROH, not that one, the ROH 6-man. I know you hate this name. Beautiful looking belts, look like a big deal. Yeah, they say 6-man still. I know you hate that. But they're beautiful looking belts. But then he did something crazy. And he just said, oh, okay, at this point, combine the 2 divisions, right?
There's so many 6s on that belt.
It is.
That is 666 all the way down the middle.
It is. And now that you said that, I kind of hate it. But thanks. Should these have been combined? Should we have taken our AEW trios and combined it with the ROH 6-man belts?
If I'm just going to say it right now. No, they shouldn't be combined. What they need to do is leave Ring of Honor on Ring of Honor and AEW on AEW. The Bang 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 holding 9 titles, which I mean it's funny. You know, they come out their little wagon and all this other stuff. That's funny. I don't like any of it. I think if the Bang 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 just had their titles, it would have been cool. But like, it takes away so much from Ring of Honor to have the Ring of Honor championships, and this goes for all of them, not just the trios, because I know I'm bash mouthing the trios right now, but for all of them, to have them constantly on AEW. Because you know why? I don't need to watch Ring of Honor to see these titles anymore. And that, to me, it takes it away. So I also don't want AEW titles on Ring of Honor. So I think they should just leave them separated. And Tony Khan has this big thing where he's just like, yeah, you know, we're going to put all our main titles on one show on our main show. And to me, it's just so, it's dumb. But those titles, the 666 titles, I don't like them. And I think, and this is a low bar here, I think those titles have less prestige than the AEW ones. And I don't even like the AEW ones. So
AEW really needs a brand split. AEW Dynamite, only the tag team champions, and AEW Collision, only the trios champion.
That would work perfectly fine.
And the prototype, I think he was laughing at that scissor me picture. But let me ask you this, because you made a good point about I don't want to see those champions on each one. Mm-hmm. Keeping them separate. And the reason that you're saying about the prestige, I get it 100% because, and this is going to blow your mind, look who held the ROH titles versus who has held the AEW titles.
Right.
You had the Elite, House of Black,
the Acclaimed
with Daddy, you know who, and now you have Jay White and the Bang Bang Scissor. No, what are they called? The Bang Bang Bullet Club.
Yeah, Bang Bang Gang. They were Bullet Club Gold, but I don't think they're saying that anymore for some reason.
Right. So you have, like I said, former world champions in all of that mix because you had Kenny Omega, right? You had, not necessarily in the House of Black, but you have 3 contenders for any title at any time. Can be inserted to any match and going to give you a great match. You had
Death Triangle.
Billy Gunn.
Death Triangle also held.
I skipped over Death Triangle. You're right. Death Triangle who is full of former champions, former world champions, former insert them anywhere, but ROH was always a tag team and somebody else. I'm gonna just put this on the screen. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But in this short time, this was a bad move to reintroduce them, or should he just kept the ROH belts and just let them float between both shows instead of introducing the trios belt?
I think, like I said, I think introducing them but keeping them separate was the key for AEW. Because I think when it comes to the trios for AEW, and it's like you said, is it the right time? It was the perfect time for them to do it because they were a stacked roster with a lot of factions.
Yes,
a lot of 4 people to 3 people factions, and that I'm gonna specify why that's important. But it's simply because we're gonna take, like, for example, right now we got the Bang Bang Gang, right? Juice Robinson just came back. Love him. It's so easy for Jay White as a leader to give his strap to Juice and him contend for another title. And I think when you have that, it works so well. I think the problem with AEW's trio division right now is that there's not enough trios. There's no more. For some reason, it's like factions are dying, or factions don't want those titles, and that's what makes it bad.
but you got makeshift factions like Christian, Killswitch, and Nick Wayne.
You got the learning tree.
You got the learning. Don't get me started on that. You got makeshift stuff that's like, because nobody in AEW can be alone, and it's crazy because I think Prototype was on to something. He said, if it was up to me, it should be an AEW roster on Dynamite and use Collision as primary ROH, or just rename Collision as ROH. Then that way you have 2 established shows. You got AEW and ROH. People tend to gravitate towards letters versus or entities, just like if WWE had WWE and WCW. And remember, it's WWE, WCW, ECW. You know, people seem to gravitate towards that. And now that we know it's Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, level up. You know what I mean? So it is NXT UK. It was like, it's still NXT. But I wish wrestling companies would stop. All old companies like NWA, ECW, ROH. Well, let's sit on that for a second, because when Tony Khan brought ROH, right, it was a big deal. But when he revived them, did he need to revive all of those titles? Did he need the Pure Champion now? Because right now it's just around somebody's waist. Nobody even realized that Will Yuta was out with an injury for as long as he was, because he was a Pure Champion. This was the first time you see Mark Briscoe on AEW television. How many weeks? And that's where I kind of drew the line, because now you're taking an ROH champion on an AEW program to contend for a title, a secondary title. But all I'm gonna say is this: if you had to get rid of one between AEW and ROH, which one would you get rid of?
Oh, dude, ROH is getting shut down.
I mean, for the trios belts. I'm sorry, I should have been more specific.
ROH is still the answer.
So now I want to go somewhere different. And this is where I'm going to need your expertise. Because you said something about AAA and CMLL, right?
Yes.
They have trios champions as well. Let's take a look at the CMLL champion, right? At first glance, I see the Intercontinental title. I know that this belt means a lot to that promotion because they use that silhouette a lot, right? But they got the word trios on there, right? 3 people with this belt and then a single champion, a secondary champion, whatever it may be. Is this not overkill for that same style of cookie cutter?
Nah, man. You know, I'm so biased when it comes to
talk about it.
I think when it comes to CML, because it's not, the best way I could put it is because it's not huge in the North American market. Because besides Mexico, it's probably not that huge everywhere else, as big as I would love it to be. So to see these cookie cutter belts on brands like that makes sense because I can instantly tell when I see this, that's a CMML. And I just got to read, oh, well, he's trios. Well, this guy's the world champion. Well, so in a sense, it makes sense for them to do it. And
Okay.
it's a pretty belt, man. Look at that thing.
All right, so let's talk about AAA. I would ask you the same thing about AAA, right? So within AAA, right, they have a trios belt. The belt, and if memory serves it correctly, it has 3 different colors on it, right?
It does.
And you know what I'm talking about, right?
Mhm.
And it's a simple silhouette. Why does this belt? To me, this belt works more important than the other one because it just looks like a championship.
On top of that, it looks more cultured. You know what I'm saying? It's got the flag on the background. It's you know what I'm saying? Look at the A Pena plates. It looks more cultured. If I saw this on the street, I'm saying, well, that's a Mexican title. And I mean, and you know, in a non-racial way, of course. That's a Mexican title. It looks more cultured. And I think, you know, because AAA and CML, obviously, they go head-to-head nonstop all the time with their beef. I think when it comes to looking more cultured, AAA always takes the cake on that.
All right, so I'm going to take you to another aspect.
Okay.
Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
They had some unique-looking belts.
You got that title?
I don't have that title because I couldn't
man.
decide which one because they had some unique. When I say unique-looking belts, if you get a chance, anybody, please go and just Google Lucha Underground Championships. But their 6-man belt was on a red strap, had the Lucha
mask,
Underground mask in the center, and they did some different stuff with this belt, right? They had some trios that had a woman in it. They had trios that, you know, weren't always like your typical. It was, hey, these 3 people are going to wrestle for this title, right? Why does trios wrestling work better for companies like Lucha Underground, CMLL, AAA than they do anywhere else?
Okay, and I can answer that. The reason why it works better in those areas compared to the format that we're watching is simply because of the format. The trios division should always be high speed, fast paced action wrestling with 6 people who can counter. I think it works better because these Lucha Underground, CMML, AAA, they're a spot fest. And these spot fests, they work so well because they have different rules. You slide under the rings to get tags. You know what I'm saying? So when they intertwine together, these matches are so fun to watch. But then when you watch the trios division in a sense of Ring of Honor or AEW, you know, and WWE smart for staying away from it, I'm gonna be honest. They try to play these Americanized rules and treat it like a regular tag match. And you get these slow-paced matches that don't really, it's just like watching a regular match. But like compare a AAA match where you have somebody like Viking Dahino on there jumping off the side, and when he jumps out, it's technically a tag. So you get the next guy to run in, do another jump, technically a tag. They constantly keep going. It's a constant spot fest, and that's why it works for them. What also works for them is normally in the Mexican promotions, their factions are usually 4 people. Like I guarantee 75% of factions in Mexican promotions are 4 people. And the reason why they keep it like that is because one usually is a leader. But besides that, if one gets injured, they never have to drop the titles. So they always stay afloat. And I think that's one of the issues that AEW has is that their factions that they keep giving them to, these are 3 people. And if one gets hurt, it's kind of like, well, these champs are not on TV now because one is hurt. It's the same issue that, you know, in a sense, New Japan doesn't really have, but New Japan is just slacking on talent right now. But it's not an issue that they really have, but it's also an issue of when it comes down to it, if someone was to get hurt, do you have that backup? And the Mexican promotions are always prepared for that. Besides that, they just have really good matches. It's just fun.
So, talk about when Ivelisse was a champion. She was a female that held one of these 6-man belts, right? Mm-hmm. And I want people to really think about this. Lucha Underground wasn't afraid to have men versus women. Chelsea Green wrestled.
Pentagon.
Pentagon.
Right.
What was his name? Because he's Penta L0 now.
He's Penta Dark.
Yeah. And probably Io Sky. Well, Io Shirai. She wrestled in Lucha Underground, and she wrestled male sometime. And it's crazy because then you had combinations like Prince Puma, Rey Mysterio, who knew, right? Johnny Mundo, Jack Evans, and PJ Black. I'm gonna let y'all Google who those people are. But you had all of these different types of people, but you had her who, to me, first ever champion, stand out. She could go. She could go with the guys, And it wasn't like, oh, I'm a woman, I can only do a head scissors to take down. No, women in Lucha Underground wrestled just as hard as the men.
Mm-hmm.
Did this help this division because they were doing stuff different? Or did this, I wouldn't say hurt, did this help elevate it even more to make you say, okay, I want to see this trio match more than anything else?
No, it definitely helped. And it's like you said, all these matches that they had, these intergender matches, and we know nowadays we got a lot of promotions that do that, which is real cool to watch. But I feel like they were the ones, in a sense, that really elevated to show what these women can do. And I talked about how I felt like the trios, the 6-man, whatever they call it, on Ring of Honor was a lower mid-card title. But on this promotion, when they had her on there, it felt like a higher mid-card. This is an honor. This girl is rocking it, you know what I'm saying? With the guys right now, she is going out there and she's killing it. And she was a main focus of that whole trio. So it was really great to see that because they were doing something, and I'm not going to say it, but they were doing the women's revolution really before the women's revolution, And Lucha Underground doesn't get the credit it deserves for everything it did, but it's one of the only, I assume they filmed. I don't know if they've actually filmed in Mexico. Were they actually filmed in Mexico?
That I'm not for sure. And I can double check. Because I'm going to throw something out there for the people to know. Lucha Underground actually helped build some of the stars that we're watching today. Even though they had different names, like when I said Prince Puma.
That's Ricochet.
Yep. Let me see if you remember who Killshot was.
Oh, that's Swerve.
Okay. The Son of Havoc. Come on. Let's see if you remember.
Don't tell me because there was Luchasaurus was on there. I'm trying to think of everyone. I'm trying to think of everyone that was on there. Obviously, we talked about Chelsea Green. We talked about EO. Chavo was on there for a bit. Ray was on there.
Mm-hmm. Matt Cross, indie wrestler. You know him when you see him. Trust me, you know him when you see him. But I'm just saying. So with that, the rules are different. The feeling is different. Mm-hmm. This is why, because Lucha is a whole totally different style. It's a whole totally different feel. They did something because we're traditionally seeing one-on-one matches, triple threat, fatal four-way, tag team matches. Now you got, okay, how do you make this 6-man element exciting? And I think that Lucha Underground, I haven't watched much AAA or CMLL, but I know Lucha Underground made it exciting. They made it to the point that it's like, oh, what do you think? And I know you're going to hate what I'm asking this. ROH or AEW could do to make their trios division more exciting?
What I think they need to do is, and this goes back to what we said earlier, they need to stop taking tag team guys and trying to add an extra person. Like, I love that triangle. I think that's awesome. But at the end of the day, Ray Phoenix and Penta should be going for tag belts, and Pac should be going for a solo title. But I think it works for people like the Acclaimed because they have, Daddy Ass with them. I think it works for House of Black, and I'm not taking shots. All those guys could be solo stars, but at this point in their career, I think it's best for them to stay a trio. I think what they need to stop doing, it was like, I don't know if you remember this, but FTR, who's considered one of the greatest tag teams ever, they were the pinnacle. Like, they were in a trio. And it's just one of those things where, they need to stop putting good tag teams. They need to establish their tag teams and establish their trios. And they never do that. And until they do that, we'll never have a good trios, or we'll have a lacklusting tag because the good tags are in trios that we don't want to see them.
But you had the Best Friends. You had the Dark Order. You had plenty of people already there.
The Best Friends, the Dark Order was great. The Best Friends had the issue of Orange Cassidy getting way over popular. He overshadowed everyone. And, great for him. Honestly, great for him. Orange Cassidy's the guy. But, man, he overshadowed that whole group. At some point, I was just like, yeah, cool, Orange Cassidy's coming out. That's awesome. And then I'd be like, oh, yeah, that's right. Trent's with him. So
But I would be remiss if we didn't mention this comment. We missed it before we went into our CMLL, AAA, and Lucha Underground comment. Booking Like a Mark says, Triple H had a chance to make a statement with trios titles in WWE. Judgment Day, LWO, Legado del Fantasma, Pride, and Final Testament. No, what I think he did was doing the exact thing Tony Khan did and said, nobody can be by themselves. Because let's call it what it is, the Final Testament, that's two different people put together. We don't know what to do with Karrion Kross and Scarlett because Adam Cole killed his career with that one promo, and he never bounced back from that. And you got AOP and Paul Ellering that you're like, all right, what do we do with them? Pride. Go ahead.
I will say, I'm going to go off this real quick and why I think WWE should always stay away from trios title, right? Judgment Day. Okay? Judgment Day. They have 4 members. I do agree. So you could do it. And if you're going to do it, it's going to be Dom, JD, and Finn, right? Because Damian is the leader. Damian should always be in a major title, whether it's top mid-card or world title.
Kind of like DX was when Triple H, always in their title.
LWO, at this point, I mean, that's the job squad. I guess you can count them as their job squad. Come on now. They lose all the time. LWO is a bunch of losers. I hate to say it. They're a bunch of losers that keep stabbing Rey Mysterio in the back. Okay? That's all they are. But when you really break it down, Rey would be the leader. And then you have Dragon Lee and whoever didn't stab Rey Mysterio in the back at this point. Legado, obviously Santos leads that group. The Pride, Bobby leads that group. And the Final Testing, Karen leads that group. And I say leads that group because while they're going for these other titles, they have these tag teams behind them that can also go for these tag team division titles. So it makes your faction look more powerful. The reason why the Bloodline looked great, yes, Roman was awesome. But when the Usos held the titles with him, they looked unstoppable. And if you would do you know how? Imagine Roman Reigns and the Usos holding the trios titles during that time. You would look at it and be like, it doesn't look right.
No, Roman, the Usos and
Solo. Yeah, imagine Solo holding a triples title. It wouldn't look right. I think when it comes to factions, and this is why I say this, the trios titles only works if you have a huge roster and have established trios division, which is what the AAA and CMLL do. They have established triple divisions. But everywhere else, they're just factions that have a leader and 2 tag team guys. And when you put them all together, it's kind of pointless. Just have your factions look more powerful when you can dominate who the leader is and who's not the leaders. Because then you also get storylines when Jay breaks out. We were all like, oh man, Jay's stepping up for his own, and look at him now. You know what I mean? It becomes that whole segue. When tag teams break up, it becomes a whole segue because it's just like, well, what side do you lean on? Who are you really with? You know? You look at this Chad Gable situation right now. Chad, Otis, and Tozawa. And Tozawa obviously looks scared, and Otis is still kind of following Chad's lead up until this point recently. I don't know if you guys are caught up, but up until this point recently. So it's just like one of those things. I think the reason why WWE stays away from those titles is because they do a great job with their factions. They do a great job establishing who's leading them and what their role is. Because you can get everyone on TV time. If AOP has a match, Karrion Kross is still on TV. If Karrion Kross has a match, AOP is still on TV. And you don't need a trios title to do that.
But he got 2 managers. Good. Well, 3 now, because if AOP has a match, you got Paul Ellering, Scarlett, and him all ringside. It's like, is this a lumberjack match?
There's money in numbers.
But I'm going to tell you this. The prototype said ROH should be used as their NXT. I 1,000% agree with you. I should feel like it's 2 AEW shows and ROH is doing something to make you pay attention what NXT is doing. Willie Wood is in the building. I don't know if you saw this. He might be at work. It's Tuesday. He might be at work listening in. So we just want to say, if you don't know who Willie Wood is, that's Drew Willingham from Saratoga Media in or out sports debate and everything sports. And I might drop a sports reference if he's still listening. Only then it's going to stop me if he tells me that he still has his long hair. And the prototype says WWE needs to get their tag team division rock solid before they can think about trio titles. I don't know if it's a tag team rock solid or is it a fact of establishing, like what you said, about keeping the definition of who's who. Because let's be honest, Damage Control is just Io Sky screaming and being crazy now. And Kyrie saying just like I'm Kyrie saying, and then Dakota, We're the most dominant force. Man, what are y'all dominating? What are y'all doing? I'm confused now.
But when Bailey was in charge, we all knew Bailey led, and they followed up until that storyline collided, which that's why it worked. You know what I mean? It's, also, like we said, if you're gonna bring in a new title, I want intergender titles. And I know people are scared. People don't like that, but I like it. I don't want a mixed tag championship. I don't want that. I know there are rumors of one of the companies willing to do that, and I think that's dumb.
Oh no, talk about it, because Tony Khan basically said he's open to having intergender tag matches where it's one male and one female on each side. But
congrats to Adam Cole and Britt Baker on their first win.
So so I'm gonna say why I agree if it's going to be women on women and men on men, because the way that the world is set up, no matter what you do, it's going to be backlash towards somebody in that match. Like when Britt Baker showed the picture of her with a busted nose, it was so much outrage, and she was like, "I thought I just looked like a bad, you know what?" And I'm like, "I thought it did too." Becky Lynch was showing when she got busted open. It was like, that's when the man was born. But I don't know if the world will accept on a mainstream a man powerbombing a woman or a woman pinning
I don't
a male.
know. I don't know, man, because I'll tell you what, Nia Jax came out to that Rumble, got an RKO of 619.
How many years ago was that?
And we cheered.
How many years ago was that? Pre-COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah, but
that's a different world.
Do you not pop when a woman comes out in a man's Rumble?
Not anymore. Because of the backlash. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the backlash of it, like, oh gosh, what's going on? Like, we don't get to enjoy that moment because somebody's going to make it, they're going to take away from that moment.
Right.
Like, what I like it if Jade Cargill came into the men's Rumble and she threw somebody on top. No, I would like it because they have their own Rumble for that reason. Just like I hated when Santino Marella was Santina and he won that Battle Royal. I was like, that is the worst thing ever.
The Miss Rumble?
That was the worst thing ever.
Yeah, but look at his daughter now. She's Miss NXT. Long-term storybooking, man.
What if they had separated the tag team titles? Raw could have trios and SmackDown could have standard tag titles, then separated them between actual factions and two-person units. I wouldn't hate that, but the only thing is, then all the heavy trios and factions would just be on Raw. That's my only problem with that. It's like, for instance, after Final Testament, what's his name, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, the Pride, if they're only on Raw, but SmackDown's coming to my town, I'm not going to go because what if I want to see the Street Profits? They're on Raw. I got to wait. I would lose out on money if I know only on that day. Now, granted, they kind of have a roster split, but if you have a set of champions only for that, like, for instance, if SmackDown is coming to Baltimore, we're not going to see main event Jey Uso unless it's in the special attraction dark match and they advertise it. I think that would be a logistics nightmare because right now, Raw, you're going to see Damian Priest. SmackDown, you're going to see Cody. So,
I also think WWE's problem is that they don't know how to keep a faction. Besides the New Day, I can't think of a faction that's lived this long. And I'm saying faction. I'm not saying tag team because, people could argue there's been tag teams that have lasted. The Street Profits are lasting a long time without splitting. But an actual faction lasting more than, we're going to say, 3 years tops in WWE is kind of unheard.
That's what they is. I'm like, but like Alpha Academy. We saw in the sea. Imperium.
They're showing signs. There was
Imperium
there was no reason to split Imperium. I will sit here.
Hold on, let's take it back.
Remember,
they had 4 members, and then they went down to 3. People forget about their 4th member, and remember, their 4th member rotated a little bit, but that's another topic for another time. Brother, I'm going to ask you this last question. Okay. All right? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Did you know that every belt has a story?
I'm aware. I know this.
Is it time for people to understand what's been over your shoulder the whole day? You even having something in the background this whole time. Brother, it is time. And if I could have the graphic, I would have thought about it before. I would have said, this is the segment where we talk about every belt has a story, as he has tape attached to it. So let's hear the story behind this belt. It's not a trios belt, but
It's not.
I think that people need to hear this story.
So TNA to me was the original, and I say this, and I'll explain why. It was the original AEW. It was the original alternative to WWE, and I was a big fan of TNA because it came up on free cable. That was mostly, didn't have a lot of cable, but TNA was there for me. And man, the wrestling was great, and I've always been a big TNA fan. I love the reboot that they did and everything. I found this doing my flipping because I sell pops. So I went to my guy or the store I go to find pops, and he had this, and he was just like, "Yeah, I don't know what to do with it." And I was like, "Yo, I will give you all my credit. I don't need no pops. I'll give you all my credit for it." And he was like, "Yeah, that's cool. We'll do that." And then I got it, and I'm looking at it, and he's like, "Yeah, somebody scribbled in it." Literally what he said. People scribbled in it, and look to be known that it's Matt and Jeff Hardy's scribbles in the background, and it's Kurt Angle's scribble in the front, which I'm getting authenticated in November at WrestleCade. Shout out to WrestleCade. This means this is my first title, the first replica I've ever owned. You saw my Every Belt Has a Story. I even said I was like, I don't own one. I keep my kids' toy ones because he doesn't play with them. So to have this one be the first one means everything to me because this was like my actual love of the wrestling concept of wrestling. Like to me, TNA was the wrestling concept of wrestling. And because I always say people like WWE, but you either like the wrestling part or you like the entertainment part. It's one or the other. And I like the wrestling part. And they were the original alternative, until they brought in Hogan and a bunch of fall of the TNA story there. But so it means everything to me. It really does. And, I'm a big flipper. I resell everything. But there's 3 things in my office that I would never sell. My mask collection, which I'm slowly growing. Got my masks. And this title. And that poster, because it's just, I got it for free. And I don't think no one wants it. But besides that, I sell everything. But, this means absolutely everything for it to be my first title. And now it's starting addiction because I'm going to get another title.
Titles are like tattoos. As soon as you get one, you itch to get another one. You're like, oh, what's next? What's next? But with that being said, what's next on your thought to get? Just throw some ideas out there. Which ones are next?
I'm a big fan. You guys already know this, of the Purple Strap Cruiserweight title. I think that's something I actually do want. I think I want to get it before WrestleCade. I just got to get been having car issues, so I got to pay my car off. I got to pay to get my car fixed first. See where that leaves me, and get one. And I'm also a big fan of the original X Division title. I like a lot of TNA titles, and the AEW title, the World Championship. I think it's a beautiful. Man, it's just a beautiful big old title. I love that belt. I love it every time I see it on TV. I don't care who holds it. Whenever they hold it, they look great. But yeah, so those 3 specifically, I wouldn't mind getting, but in that order, because I definitely the Cruiserweight title just meant so much from me.
The original one, not the NXT one, right? The original NXT.
The one, yeah, the one that TJP won.
I was gonna say the Cruiserweight Classic one.
Yeah, the NXT one's pretty too. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty, but it's not as pretty as the original, the 205 Live. And for everyone wondering how much I actually paid for this, I traded 7 pops that I bought for $3 a piece. So it's
7 pops that you paid $3 a piece, which equals $21. My math is correct.
Yeah.
So $3 a piece for 7.
They were expensive pops, though. I will say they were like $100 pops.
Those that much you paid?
Nah, I didn't pay that. That's what they were worth. That's what they're worth. So in a sense, I gave like $600 and something in trade value for this. But realistically, I got $21 into it to get a title with some scribbles on it.
Because this is why championship culture exists. When you tell your story, that belt will always mean something to you because it brings you back to the moment that is at the core of you being a wrestling fan. Mm-hmm. But not only that, the story behind how you got it as well. So yes, it's going to take you back to the moment, but now you have a cool story. Like in the first episode of Championship Culture, and I said, let's get it out the way. I've told the infamous story about my flea market belt I broke for $20. And, and it's like, everybody's like, what? That's amazing. But that belt holds so much to me because every belt has a story. What is the story behind it? And I'm glad that you got to share your story on this platform so people can see it, because when you submitted your entry for Everybody's Story, when I pulled that name, I was like, oh, it's Martin. Oh, it's Marcus.
You saw the MAR and was like, what's the last three?
I was like, oh. So it is crazy because he only had 2 entries and you had 3. So that's why I was like, oh. So it's truly, who's the older one, you or him?
He is. He's my middle brother. I have an older brother as well.
There's another one of you got. What is his name?
Jerry.
Not an M? Okay.
Nah.
Okay. So the older brother, well, the middle brother beat out the little brother. But I think we established some interesting facts about the trios title. Gave you insight about it. I think we're going to keep calling them trios because now you've changed my mind about 6-man. Because I hate the name now.
Because of the 666?
Yeah. Well, not the ROH belt. But it's always been the 6-man and the never open weight. If it had just been called the never open trios champion, excuse me, it might have been a little bit better. But tell people where they can find you. Where can they find Knit Ram?
You can find me on 4 Sides of the Ring. They post stuff, shows every Friday. You can find me on X at knitram_4SOTR. That's knitram_4SOTR. I am currently taking auditions. If anyone wants to be on Opinionated, currently taking any entries. We had to reset our dates, so we're filming episodes 2, 3, and 4, probably all on the same day. So if anyone's interested in giving their opinion, hit me up on that. And yeah, season 2 of 3 Count Trivia is coming. I think we're about getting ready to get the entry list. I assume the current champions. Oh, guys, I got to break this here. That's right. I forgot to tell you.
Wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have exclusive.
Mr.
H
Brandon.
to the A to the S to the T to the H to the E to the 3 to the R to the D. Can you please come on screen, please? Because you have to say his name, man. He appears. I'm believing. Come on, you.
This is slowly affecting y'all. I just want y'all to be aware. I pulled all the strings I could pull for y'all. I looked out for y'all. You guys will not be getting any bye weeks in season 2 of defending your title. You will have to start off with everyone else. It came down to a vote, and it came down to 3-2. I can't disclose who vote what, but from start to finish, you guys will be defending your champions like working champions. We know you guys are the workhorse champions, but you can lose it in any round.
So Hugh, let me get him first. Let me get him, Oos. Sir, was Brandy Savage part of this committee? Because he's the most fairest person that we know. And my second question is, was anybody that was in the first round of the competition that got blown out in their own competition part of this voting? Because they hate us.
No, so
yes, you heard me, ladies and
gentlemen.
It
was a vote with all 5 of us from 4 sides, and it came down to 2 votes. And I voted for y'all. Y'all should get the bye. I said y'all should get the bye all the way to the. We should have had a tournament where the winner just fought you guys.
That's the whole point. We are the champ. You don't make Roman Reigns fight everybody to get to the number 1 contendership to say.
No, they expect y'all to be Seth Rollins. You see, that's what they want for. They said, they're like the Seth Rollins workhorses. Who knows more than these guys? That's what I was told. So, I'm just saying, when season 2, when we do the entry list, you guys are the first names on the brackets.
Unmute yourself here, because go.
I said more ass whoopings. That's it.
More ass whoopings.
Because who was the inaugural champions? I'm sorry.
I'm just saying,
who's the inaugural champions?
It looks pretty.
Hey, you guys always gonna be in history as the first.
The first.
But are you guys gonna Sasha Bank this? Or
Oh.
I'm just saying. Can you guys get a defense in?
Come on, man.
We got a lot of interest this time. So
come on, man. Man. You see the finger.
Listen, sir.
You guys made all these friends. You guys made all these friends. It's about to get personal in here.
I'm going to say this. When we went against some of these people were bluntly cheating, and they didn't get called out on it. And then somebody tried to take points from us and say, "Oh no, you said," but you know what? As the champs that we are,
hey,
You
bro.
got the Trish Stratus thing wrong.
Yeah, we did.
as the champs we are, the one
Right.
question we got wrong,
Right.
not the 146 points that we got for being right. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know what we're talking about, please go over to Four Sides of the Ring and watch the first season of 3 Count Trivia, where Nit Ram has showed that nobody loves him in the world because he asked the most hardest questions. But guess who won every round that they were in? Oh, the championship culture, guys. Because everybody has a story, and we were not going down. Even when teams were talking trash to us on X, on all the social medias, telling they're going to take us down. And I was like, let me get him loose. He said, no, just let it be.
Just let it rock, Dave.
Just
Just
let
let
it
it rock.
Actions speak louder than words.
Yes. And to hear on the anniversary show of Four Sides of the Ring that one of their highlights of the year was meeting those championship culture boys. And y'all do us like this. So you do realize we're going to have to come with a vengeance. We're going to have to come with our A game. We're going to have to come with yellow hoodies on. We're going to have to come with red hoodies on because we're going to bring the fire. You have a yellow. You are inducted into the yellow hoodie gang.
Oh,
but you know what?
I'm gonna have it on the episode you guys aren't on. I promise you that. I can't show too much bias. But
No.
I got y'all's gear. I got Mike's gear. So I gotta make sure when you guys, are put y'all on some sides of the bracket.
Mike lost Opinionated, right?
Mike did lose Opinionated.
Who won Opinionated?
Who won the first episode? Here's
so
a bombshell. Here's a bombshell on that, Brandon. When episode 7 comes, it will be to see who is the champion of Opinionated because it will be all 6 winners of season 1.
Oh, so I got to go compete against 6 of the losers? Okay, gotcha.
Ooh, he talking all the smack.
Because I'm tired of them stacking the deck against us, and I've been quiet for the whole season 1. But for both of these things. And, because we talk about some belts, but like Brother Realness said, he ain't talking to no normal guy. I know some things, right? We might be stressed out, so now I gotta defend my inaugural win against 6 other people. Okay.
Hey, there's only one champion, one opinion that matters. That's how I'm gonna end the season. So
that's nasty work right there. That's nasty work. No respect, no loyalty. That's crazy.
At all. He said get spunky on here. So you do me a favor. Let's flash on the screen so you know where they can find them one more time because we are over our time. So don't forget, please check out Four Sides of the Ring. Go to any of the social medias. If you want to check out Nit Ram himself, the man to make sure. I'm trying to get it off the screen.
I'm trying to get it off the screen too.
As he like to say, the man that makes you say it, Nit Ram. The man.
I'm Nit Ram, the one that makes it say, "Oh damn."
You're right. Nit Ram _4, as in number 4, SORT, or at Four Sides of the Ring on X, Instagram, Nit Ram _Martin. And if you pay attention, you'll see what that means. Or at Four Sides of the Ring podcast, and then of course Four Sides of the Ring on YouTube. If you get bored and you need something to listen to that's going to be entertaining, of course check out Championship Culture. But when you get tired of looking at this beautiful face, go look at Nit Ram and his alter ego of being Nit Ram, or Chano, or my favorite Brandy Savage, and then that guy Marcus, the founder.
I'm right here.
Hey, that's disrespectful as hell. Like, god dang.
What I said, Marcus? Huh?
I'm sorry.
On, man.
Yeah,
I know I'm Hugh's favorite.
Hey man, we here, bro. We here. Jelly, big jelly.
Y'all have that bond.
Jelly bean gang.
Brandon is my spirit animal. That's all I'm gonna say about it. And don't forget the founder.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie though. I gotta show love to Marcus too. We're birthday twins.
Oh yeah.
That is.
So yeah.
See, so Marcus is actually your spirit animal. Martin is just your jelly bean boo. That's what we go.
You know what? I gotta have somebody. Dwayne, where you at? Dwayne, when you see this, let them know I'm your favorite, Dwayne. I gotta have somebody over here.
You just make sure that Brandy Savage know I said that he was my favorite because he was the deciding factor of Opinionated. Remember, he's like, gotta go with the guy. He's like, gotta go with the guy. And he was rocking a Championship Culture shirt. Everybody said it was predetermined. I was like, hey, he got it on. He was like, I gotta go with the guy. Because he was sitting there all chilling. He was like this. Mm-hmm.
No, we talked about that. We talked about that game for a minute. He's like, man, it was so hard not to vote for Marcus, but his opinion was so bad.
It's crazy. Crazy.
Anything else you want to say to the people? We got you, Nick Ram. I didn't broke kayfabe. Your name is Nick Ram and Martin all in the same show.
It's all good. Oh no, man! Like I said, if anybody wants to be on Opinionated, hit me up on Twitter. We have open slots.
Prototype, you heard that?
Anybody,
really, I hope you heard that.
Anybody could be on it. This is a show for fans, for fun. It's literally, there's no skill to it. It's just opinions. So it's just fun thing for us to do. Until then, you guys know, you guys ever want me on, I'm here. We're like podcast cousins. That's why I like to tell people. But it's all love here. So I'm here.
Man, y'all get y'all butts on Opinionated, man.
Please.
Talk y'all smack. Get on there.
So I
can
have some competition.
Ooh.
But Prototype, hit him up so you can get on there. I think he would enjoy this. Willie would definitely. And who else was in the comments? Anybody watching the show, please get on Opinionated. It will not disappoint. You will be cracking up laughing. It will stress you out. The rules, it's like Squid Game. When you think you figure out the rules, you're like, oh, he just changed them. That's all I'm going to say is a hit. It's like Squid Game. But I'm going to tell y'all this last story and we're going to get out of here. So Mania weekend, when me and Hugh was planning it, I was like, yeah, we're going to have all these T-shirts. We're going to have all these T-shirts. He's like, man, you see the weather? Yeah, we're going to have all these hoodies. We're going to have all these hoodies. We're going to have different color hoodies. This is what we're going to do, right? We have a different color hoodie every day, right?
Man, right.
We changed real quick. So what day was that, Saturday or Sunday? We went to that Jamaican place.
Saturday.
That was Saturday, yeah.
Saturday.
So Saturday, me and Hugh being, championship culture through and through, show with these gold hoodies, right? Mine is gold, red, and black and white. His is gold, turquoise,
same
black.
The turquoise, yeah.
Yeah, with turquoise, right? Subtle differences. Every belt has a story down a sleeve. And Martin just comes up to me and says, where'd you get that hoodie from? And was it you or Brandy was like, can I touch it? And y'all were like this, like, oh, that's kind of smooth. Not knowing that Brandy was the one making our shirts and everything, right? He's like, oh, that's kind of, I said, yeah, I know a guy. He's like, can you give me one? And your eyes got so big.
It did.
I was like,
look, people always get on me because they're like, you can't just be asking people for something. Like, y'all, if y'all don't ask, y'all don't know.
Yeah, hey, right, exactly.
He's like, because of course I said I know a guy. He's like, can you give me one? And his eyes got real big. I was like, well, what size do you wear? He was like, 2X. I'm like, ain't no way. I said, do you want to try this on to make sure it's the right size? He said, no, because I'm not giving it back.
Hey, facts.
And at that moment, I realized that hug that we shared on WrestleMania was not enough because clearly.
By the way, Marcus keeps calling you out for that. He says there's a video, but no evidence. He says he hears about it, but it's that story where people talk about something, but no one can prove it.
Okay. You know what? It's going to come out this week. It's coming out. It's going to be edited. It's going to be out. It's going to be in the interwebs. But ladies and gentlemen, if you see this man with a gold hoodie that matches mine, I got fussed up by he was saying, "You're not supposed to make the same thing for somebody else." I was like, "Did you see the look on his face?" First time, I was generally terrified that he was going to take my hoodie from me. So I agreed to whatever at the time.
Right, sure, yeah. You got.
Because I thought it was. Because what do y'all say? Can I touch it? I'm like,
it's regular. It's regular cloth.
Yeah.
He was sitting like, we just met.
Meanwhile, you was getting angry because your food was taking so long. Remember?
Yeah, man. I was.
Hey, man, that wait was worth it though, bro.
It was.
Yes, it was
great food. Great food.
Yes.
Man, yeah.
I need to make it back down there. Oh, up there.
Yeah, we need to go there. But it was so funny because he was like, his eyes got real big, and I'm telling you. So he not only did he get a championship culture shirt, he wound up with a championship culture hoodie, which is a limited edition. I don't think we can ever bring that color back out.
It's all good. I got one. I'm part of the team.
Hey, it is what it is.
Everyone knows I'm Dwayne's favorite, so I mean, it's just.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh, you say you're the realness favorite? I can't wait till tomorrow to see if this makes it to his notes.
Oh, it's going to make it to the notes.
He's going to say, and lastly, brothers, Nick Ram, you are my favorite. And that's it, brothers. That's all. So, brothers.
That's going to be the only note. That's it.
He's gonna be like, I got notes. Sorry, Brian. Sorry, Hollywood. Okay. First thing. Nick Ram, you are definitely my favorite. That's
okay. Too late now.
Why are we like this? And he almost got the Stephanie Hardy, but you see, he got to lean with it.
Yeah, he do.
So, he definitely did.
That belt is beautiful, by the way.
It is.
See, I don't even watch TNA. I never watched TNA like that, but
You're missing out.
bad boy is You're
missing out. You know the way people see, like they talk about like Ring of Honor, like it was like this great thing of the past, but like no one ever talks like they only talk good about it. That's how I talk about old TNA. Old TNA,
right?
If you told me you didn't like the new TNA or the Hulk Hogan era TNA, I would totally understand. But old TNA
this
was something else.
This TNA,
was
the truth. This X Division at times is more important than the world title. Think about it. The rivalries for this belt. If you go watch any combination of AJ Styles, Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, did I say Christopher Daniels?
No.
Christopher Daniels. Even when they introduced Suicide and we didn't know who he was, it was Frankie Kazarian at first. It was Amazing Red. You name it. It was like, why is it so good? Oh my gosh, Shark Boy was entertaining.
Who said Shark Boy?
He was entertaining.
He was entertaining, and so was Christopher Daniels' alter ego, the one that would come out like this. With the little, Curry Man. Wasn't it Curry Man?
Oh my gosh!
I can envision him. I just can't think of it.
Yeah, he used to come out, had a whole mask on, and be like this while he's dancing. And I was like, "Oh, Christopher Daniels." When I found out it was him, I was like, "He definitely transformed to a whole nother person." But Nick Ram, I think we did it for tonight. We can go on a rant a little bit more about this. Can't wait to hear Dwayne's notes tomorrow.
Yes, it was Carrie. It was Carrie Man.
Carrie Man. Okay, it was. This was definitely fun. We got to explore a little bit about the trios title. I feel like I need to put a belt on my shoulder because you ain't gonna show me up on Championship Culture. I'll put the red one up because you like red.
I forget this. I'm getting one too. Hold on.
Okay.
You gotta choose the inaugural. You gotta choose. By the way, just quick fact. The reason why I like the red dot more is because it symbolizes what Japan.
Y'all ain't gonna leave me out on my show.
Oh, that's a pretty belt. Look at that thing.
Yeah, you see that? Look at that. Let me turn around for you. Yeah, look at that. Right there. Oh, the light in the way. Tilt a little bit. Look at that.
Oh, look, it says 3. Oh, look at that, chat. Oh, look.
My bad for the fingerprints, but
it's okay.
Make sure when y'all lose, y'all package that real nicely for the
Nah, you good. You good. It's staying here. She's staying right here, baby.
It's cracking up. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been fun. There's this thumb up. See the little things we pop up. Let's see if I can get it to pop up. Yep. This has been. Here it comes.
Yay.
I don't get special effects. That's not fair.
What was the one for the? Remember Brian was doing.
Oh yeah, it was something like this. The fire. Yeah.
We're trying to get the fire. I don't know what it was. It's some way that you. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it is. Double thumbs.
Oh, it's double thumbs.
Yeah.
This is for you, and Red for being Dwayne's favorite.
Heck yeah.
Okay. We're going to speak that into existence. We're going to make sure that he acknowledges you tomorrow.
Oh.
So, ladies and gentlemen, tune in next week to Championship Culture, where I can't wait till you hear the next topic. But this has been Impactful Season 2. Hugh, I think we're almost to the end of Season 2, don't you think?
It's getting there. We're
getting a little close, aren't we?
Yeah.
We had Nick Ram show up twice.
It's a great season, by the way.
Yeah, it's if you want to go catch up after this show, go to youtube.com/The Wrestling Room and go straight to the playlist for Championship Culture, where you can see all 25 episodes of Season 1 and that one unboxing special Christmas episode. And then check out all of the episodes of Season 2.
Man, I wish I had the graphic.
For the for the unboxing happiness. But please tune into the flagship show tomorrow for the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, and tune in every Tuesday to Championship Culture. Follow us on Instagram at Championship Culture _. When you follow us, we will follow back. We post all kinds of belt content that you definitely want to be a part of. Engage in the conversation because we do. And remember, every belt has a story. Can't wait to hear yours.
Every belt has a story. Peace.